Places aren't haunted. Prove me wrong. Let's talk about how everyone's a medium. Because I know you believe that and I still don't. See? We don't agree on everything.
Let's talk about parallel universes.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Em.
And I'm Liv. And we're your PsycKicks. Why do we have stones in our mouths? In order to masticate food.
Or bones.
Which is basically stones. Everything makes no sense at all. But also so much sense all at the same time. Which is why we're talking about our spiritual spankings of 2022. We're going to figure out where we got spiritually spanked, how hard, and if our booty cheeks are still red.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, we are psychic mediums, and we've decided to do this annually where we tell you all of the things that we thought were metaphysical things and how they actually turned out, which is spiritual spankings.
We're going to be ranking for spanking. PSA! Sometimes we don't agree on things, and that's okay, because you can still be best friends and twin flames and not have the same viewpoints as everybody in the human existence. A lot of people like to comment about it, so I'm just telling them.
Comment about what?
How we don't agree on things sometimes.
Like what?
Well, the one that you know that's iconic, and then other ones are just like, I like how they don't agree on things sometimes. And then other people are like, I think it's weird that they don't have the same perception of things. Like, when we talk about Amanda, when we react to the Sam and Colby videos, they're like, if she was a real medium, then she would know these things. No, people can have disagreements, and it's also one of the things we're going to talk about, which is investigating physically at one place is different than investigating from a remote viewing standpoint or away from the place.
We're on our way to the Twin City Opera House. Pretty excited.
I want to be an opera singer.
This is our first actual ghost hunt. I started a ghost investigation team. If you haven't noticed, check out these videos. I'll put a playlist for you. But we finally went to an actual actively haunted location. It was weird.
The whole way here. You're like my necklace.
I was like, that's too cliche. Well, in that notebook, I wrote down noose.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, that's weird. So we learned a couple things because, as you guys know, we do a lot of reaction videos, which involves us remote viewing things. So it's like the difference between talking on the phone with spirits versus talking in person to spirits. So when you go to a location physically, you are actually like in the presence of the energy versus like connecting with the energy from far away. So when you do that with like scary things or like dark entities, they have more ability to manipulate things in your surroundings because you are allowing them to do so when you are talking to them. So when you are physically with them, they can make weird things happen, like what happened at the Opera House.
So I'm pushing my energy out in like white light with a ring around the end of it, all the way out to where just past where Russell is, and then past where the other end of the thing is, and it's really hard.
We were talking to souls there, and I was trying to ask questions about the like shadow people that I was seeing, and this male spirit came forward and was like, you should probably not do that because it allows this thing to gain energy to like screw things up around you.
Yeah. There's a man explaining to me that talking about the things when you're near them is not like how we do it in our room. Does that make sense to you? Because I hear a man's voice, because I'm asking him questions, I'm like, why is this like bad? Like, why is this different than what we do like in our house? And he's like, you're actually here. The energy here is different. These things are here with you. They're not like remote viewing you the same way that you're remote viewing them.
I know, that's why I told you.
Well, yeah. So there's more of the ability of bad things happening when we're actually here.
So there is a difference in talking to a soul remotely versus talking to a soul in the place in which they reside or are residing. Because I don't think they're stuck there, but...
Let's talk about how everyone's a medium. Because I know you believe that, and I still don't.
So the large topic is, are psychic mediums born, or can you learn to be a psychic medium? Okay, well, why don't you think people are mediums?
It's not that I don't think that people aren't mediums. It's just that I think that it's not your choice to realize your capabilities, because either you're allowed to realize that or you're not. So it's not that you can't get to this specific point. It's that you're not allowed to get to a specific point, because it's not you who does it. Just like it's not me who talks to dead people. It's my spirit guides that help me talk to dead people and get information as a psychic. So I think it's a higher power or God that is the one that endows you with the ability to realize your potential as a full medium, whereas other people won't do that in some life, and it's not for them to say or someone else. It's for God or a higher being to give to you.
So my thing is, as you guys realize, last 2 years I figured out that I have the ability to talk to souls. I am a psychic medium. So my spirit guides explained it to me because, as you guys know, I have gone through this journey and figured out that I'm a psychic medium, and it makes absolutely no sense to me how I am just magically now a psychic medium after a year or two, you know? So at that point, I was like, this is weird, this is dumb, I don't understand why other people can't do this, because it's not as complex as what people say it should be. So my spirit guides explained it to me with a movie about parallel universes, but they didn't tell me anything about parallel universes. They just used the ideas in the video or the movie to explain what it's like to be a psychic medium. We did a podcast called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that is because it is a movie, and this movie talks about how people have the ability to, they have this like technology that they wear, and the technology allows them to be able to transcend parallel universes. So they have the ability to move themselves into another parallel universe in which they exist. Anyways.
Wait.
What?
So she is this movie's Keanu Reeves,
and
and the person that she's going to defeat is the Slug King. Because
no idea
she
what you're
has been
talking about.
born not allergic to salt.
No.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with salt.
Okay, well, she can transcend timelines without putting salt in her eyes, so that means that she's going to defeat the Slug King.
Anyways. And my spirit guides explained that the people in this universe, they needed this technology. They needed the like gimmicks of like, for example, to relate this to mediumship, like tarot, Ouija, pendulums, that type of thing, in order to do this like ability to be able to transcend timelines. They needed some sort of thing in order to get them to do the end result. So imagine this headset that they use to transcend lifetimes is divination tools. So the divination tools help them speak to souls. They help them figure out all these things. Or if you're a trance medium, going into a trance helps you become able to speak to souls. That type of thing. However, there were a few of the people in this universe that had the ability to do it without having to do this like weird ritual type thing and having this technology that allowed them to transcend lifetimes. So my spirit guides were explaining to me, because I personally think you are a physical being and you are a soul. So you have the ability to communicate physically because you are a physical being, but you are also a soul, so you have the ability to communicate as a soul, which would be what we're doing as a psychic medium. And because of that, everyone has the ability to be a psychic medium. However, there are people that become overwhelmed by the abilities of being able to see past the things that are physically in front of them. That would be your ego. Your ego is the thing that keeps people in the dark. Because in this movie, my spirit guides again use this to explain things. The people that tried to transcend lifetimes and do it too much or do it without technology, it's like their brains would get stuck in this transitional period. They become overwhelmed. They would have like side effects from doing it. So my spirit guides explained to me that people would have this overwhelming view of the world. So that's why only certain people realize that they are psychic mediums. They would become overwhelmed. So that is the difference between someone that is, I don't know, not a psychic medium versus a psychic medium, or the people that are more able to process that type of information and not be overwhelmed by it. Because I was going to say during our like neurodivergent video that people that are neurodivergent are more likely to be psychic mediums because they don't have this strong grasp of the egotistical world. They don't have this like block in them. So that's why I think people can become psychic mediums, but it's like you need to get over the egotistical thing.
See, we don't agree on everything.
Let's talk about parallel universes.
Of course. Do you think it is possible to have a different physical Earth somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Why? Do you think that too?
I don't know, it's hard for me to think that that would be plausible, but also it's equally as easy for me to be like, oh, we fucked up somewhere, it's gotta be different somewhere.
It is and it isn't. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and that's what I've been losing my mind about since 6 o'clock this morning.
So, in the beginning of the year, I was having a lot of other psychics and mediums tell me about my future in my life. So, they told me that this specific thing, which I don't want to get into, was going to happen, and that made me feel like things were predetermined. Because a lot of people talk about, well, how does free will work if things are predetermined? We wouldn't necessarily have any choice. It would just be like a moment in time that has to happen. So, one day, we were talking to Liv's house, and
Yes, you heard that right. Talking to my house.
while we were talking to her house, I was like, is there any other souls that you want to talk to? Who's this man that's standing in the room? And she was like, the man is not from my house. He's for you. But we figured out that this man is my future self, if that doesn't already blow your mind. But future selves are a thing because time is already laid out, and spiritual beings are kind of on the outskirts of physical time. Like I explain this a lot, we're in this river, so that's why we view time as linear, because the current of the river is pushing us in one direction. However, the river also has all of these forks in the road, it turns, it goes up and down, all of these things, and we don't view it that way because we're in the current. If we were a spiritual being, which we are when we pass, we step out of the stream of time and are able to jump in at any moment, which is why my future self came in as a spiritual being, jumped into where Liv and I were talking to him, and told me all of these things, that my future is not predetermined and there's nothing that I'm supposed to do because I'm going to have decisions that I get to make based upon my decisions prior. So one of the things that I was trying to get clarification about was free will. I was like, I don't understand if you exist and these psychic mediums are telling me that this predetermined thing is going to happen in my life. How is it that I have free will and can choose things, but these things are meant to happen? And they explained to Liv that there are parallel universes where you plan out your decisions that you're going to make, and that is the thing that is written in your soul contract, and that you don't just make one decision, you make all of the decisions in regards to the choices that you have set in your path. So because of that, they already are able to create a future self based on the karma that you have decided, because you're doing all of the decisions that you've already planned out. But Liv at the time did not understand all of these things. They were basically giving me like yes or no answers to these big, huge topics, and she's like, this is gonna make sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to me, so they're just telling me a yes or no in regards to your questions.
Well, when I was talking to your future self, I thought that my future self was going to be male, so when your future self came in to be male, I was like, wait, this is from the same future timeline or like stream, but you're part of a different link. And he was like, and And I was like, oh, well then I get to be a girl? That's fun.
Yeah, and it's because our timelines, our parallel universe timelines, lead up to different future selves.
So the future self you needed to talk to was not the girl one, you needed to talk to the boy one.
So another spiritual spanking that we have is your past relatives can also be your spirit guides.
And your current relatives that are living right now
Can also be your spirit guides.
can also be your spirit guides, but can also talk to mediums
Oh.
even though they're alive right now, because in another universe, they're already dead.
Well, it's not even another universe they're already dead. It's this timeline. They've already lived this timeline and have passed.
Yeah.
And are in spirit. Because like I said, when you pass and become a spirit, you have the ability to step out of the stream of time and then jump in whenever. So this timeline that we're living has already happened, even though we're currently living it. So the soul from this life that has already passed has the ability to come back and be like, yo, bitches, what's up?
Yeah, I've talked to 2 souls that have done that. Both have been male presenting souls, but they're like currently alive when I'm talking to my client, and they're like, hey, I'm dead. You can go visit me right now. I'm alive, but I'm also dead. You want to talk about this? And I'm like, you're not helping me.
With the spirit guide thing, there are the possibility of that happening, but there's also the possibility of having like a second life, like they're reincarnated but like existing at the same time. So they're existing as your spirit guide and they're also existing as Grandma Lou type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like with your future life, right? So your future life can be female, but it's also male within the same like structure of time, but in separate timelines. So even though your grandma's living right now as Grandma Lou, she can also be living as a split soul that once you pass comes together, like, you know, as your spirit guide, which is weird. It just bothered me that this man came forward and was telling me how he helped one of my client's dogs pass over, but he's alive right now, like doing the stanky leg or something at bingo.
Well, yeah.
It blows my mind, though.
You should talk to my dead soul.
I know, you've already told me to do that.
Ask me if I'm haunting people.
I think you got the big house that you wanted, because that's what she talks about, is having this big old Victorian Gothic cathedral style house.
Is that this life? I don't think you can answer that question. Yeah, because I see this house every time I think about it. And there's like what are those things called? A turret looking thing in the one corner. And the turret is the tallest part.
Do you like gray and white cats?
Gray and white?
Yeah. There's a gray and white cat. It's all gray. It has green eyes, but the only white on it is its belly, the tips of its toes, and the tip of its tail. And I feel like it's masculine.
Why?
I don't know. There's like a boy cat that's with your older self. You walk with a cane.
A cane? Not a walker? Can't throw my tennis balls at people?
No, she says you can hit people with the cane. Can't hit people with a walker.
Easier. Sure, I can. It's just harder.
Yeah, it's harder.
It causes more damage.
Oh god. Yeah, no, it's like a wooden cane. It has a little rubber sticky on the bottom so that you don't fall.
Well, I'm glad that you're talking to my dead soul.
Does your left hip bother you?
Yeah.
It's because she's holding the cane on the right hand side so that you can take this stuff off of your left hip.
Hey, you told me I have trauma in my left hip.
Oh,
do I have to get a hip replacement?
Yes.
Disgusting. What if I just try putting goodness in it? Just, you know?
If I was you, I would be like the character from Courage the Cowardly Dog and surgically implant an actual chicken thigh for my leg. And then when people ask me, I'll be like, it's my strong leg. And then wiggle it.
Jesus. Okay, what did you learn, Liv? Your turn.
I learned how pet psychic readings work because for the longest time I didn't think that I could tell animals things, which I now realize that I can, I think. But the thing is if you were to tell a toddler not to draw on the walls, they have the free will and conscious thought to be like, I'm gonna keep drawing on the walls if I want to. So I can tell your creatures things, but I can't make them not do things or not be afraid or not hate their lives or anything like that. So
Yeah.
no different than you can tell a toddler to stop screaming. Same thing. But I was getting information in pet psychic readings that wasn't directly from the pet, because it was things like
Color.
color, but also like stuff that they haven't had before. And I've had clients email me after and they're like, well, how do you know that they want this if they've never had it before? And I was like, that's a good question. I don't know. And then they would email me and be like, remember that squeaky toy that my pet has never seen before? Well, I found it on the internet and I bought it for them and they lost their mind. They loved it, just like you said. And I was like, oh, wow. Weird.
Well, yeah, because you used to tell me colors and I'd be like, dogs don't see colors. What do you mean?
Yeah, so as a medium, I am not the one that talks to souls necessarily. I think it's my spirit guides, kind of like how Em likes to explain how her one spirit guide, Rosaline, connects things like on a switchboard. So if you have someone on one end of this wire to connect them to Mrs. Darby on Down Street, you connect it to the little the little pluggy doodle that connects to that sort of person. So there is a spiritual person here. My energy as well as spirit guides is what redirects them to get the correct information. So when I'm talking to animals, not only am I connecting with their energy, which is like telepathy, talking to that person. Sometimes Em and I will receive information from one another in a weird pet psychic way.
Through telepathy.
And I think that
Telepathically.
is just like talking to animals, but humans have a lot more egos and things like that. So sometimes it's harder because, talking to babies, we learned about that. Talking to toddlers and infants.
Is similar to pet psychic readings.
Because they don't have egos yet, just like animals don't. So it's easier to receive that information directly from them. So like, for example, we were at our friend's house and their child wanted these little like strawberry thingies. And I was like looking at the toddler, talking to him telepathically. And I was like, he really wants those strawberry things. And as soon as they got them for him, he was like, oh my God! And he was in that stage where you can't really talk. So I was like, Em, did I just talk to a toddler? And she's like, I think you did. And I was like, it's like a puppy. Yeah, so when I receive information, I think I receive information not only from the animal, so that's in the perspective or personification of I, me, my as the animal, but my spirit guides will give me information around the animal too, almost like in an omnipresent sort of manner, like when a kid goes to the doctor and the parents talk on behalf of the child. Places aren't haunted. Prove me wrong.
I still think places are haunted.
I don't know, but it just makes me sad. Like, the cemetery that we went to, go check out our cemetery video, is more haunted than the Bel Air house we went to.
Can you make it go off?
Thank you, Phoebe.
Can you make it stop? Can you make it stop?
Oh, I'm gonna cry. She's so cool.
Were you standing over there and that's why it's going off? Or is it just stupid? Yep. I thought it was just stupid too.
And it annoys me because my idea of a haunting is like scary things that are actually there, or just human souls that are actually there, which are not scary, by the way. Lovely conversations were had at the cemetery, and lovely conversations were
They
had
could be scary though.
at the Bel Air. I don't think it's that it's scary though, it's just that people are angry, and if people are angry, then
No,
it
I'm
can
talking
be
about
scary.
the duty heads. Those are people.
Yeah, but normal people can be scary.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think of hauntings as being things that aren't like, I don't know.
I know. Yeah, your perception of haunting is interesting because I'm like, most people don't even think it's just scary things that are haunting places. They think it's people because they are equally as scared of spiritual people than they are of dark things.
Okay, maybe I should word it this way. My perception of haunting has changed, understanding
there you go.
that human souls, people, can just exist, and people, it astounds me, think or delegate a place as being negatively haunted just because other human souls reside there. That's what I think my like perception of haunted is. Like, a lot of people have come to us asking questions like, since I've been watching your videos, I'm really sensitive now, and I see all of these people that walk around my house and like all of these other things that are happening, and it's really haunting and it's really scary, and I don't know if these people need help crossing over, if they're malicious or they don't like me, but why are these people in my house?
Talk really fast.
These people have most likely been in your house the entire time. It is just now that you are able to perceive them. So it gives you the perception of it being something that is brand new and or startling. However, it is not. You are just able to perceive them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it isn't scary, because something that is new, things that are new, can be scary. But they are not actually scary, because it's just the fear of fear itself that is what brings the scary things to you. Which brings me to my next conclusion of that people think having haunted houses, which is where souls reside, and for whatever reason the people around them can perceive them, get scared, and now manifest things from poltergeist activity. Check out our poltergeist video. Or it attracts darker, more sentient things that can help facilitate and manipulate your energy to help magnify your poltergeisty activity. Now, taking away from the fact that human souls actually just reside within the same physical space and metaphysical plane as where your physical existence happens, and then adding a whole bunch of crap to it. So like your house wasn't haunted, but now you got poltergeisty stuff because you were scared. So just like, I feel like things aren't actually haunted. There's just human souls that exist there for one reason or another. And because you're scared, now you have all of this other activity that you're bringing to it, and now it's gonna only snowball into this larger scale of whatever if other people continue to facilitate the scariness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we also talk about, which is another one of our spiritual spankings, manifestation, and how manifestation can create something out of nothing. So Liv talks about this experiment that they did back in like, I don't know, the 70s?
I think it was the 70s. An experiment that people did in like, I think it was the 70s, where they went to a quote-unquote haunted place, but instead of interacting with the spirits that were already there, they created and wrote down, and everyone was on the same page about a fictional character and person that they wanted to be tied to this quote-unquote haunted place. They were able to manifest the soul of somebody that never actually existed through their writing.
Got it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Exactly.
They created characters in this existed place that were not actually supposed to be haunting the place. However, the people that were sent there, that were told that these spirits reside there, but not told about the backstory, picked up on the backstory of the souls, as if they were haunting the place itself.
Yes.
So that is what's happening when you go to these haunted locations and they tell you, for example, there's a little girl that haunts this place. People are afraid of children spirits for whatever reason. So then they manifest the scary version of the little girl that's residing in this place. Hence, flipping stuff upside down, poltergeisty activity.
Yes. So the house itself isn't actually haunted in the sense of whatever it is. It's just that the people are manifesting hauntings.
However, I still think that there are haunted locations that have dark entities that are more solid than these poltergeisty things.
Yes, but that's different from poltergeist. And then there's also just duty heads that like to hang around and mess crap up because they can.
Yeah, because they said one of the things I talk about a lot with those places is because we reacted to the Clean Water Demon House, and what I say in that is this place doesn't have a lot of human souls that are trying to like help people or protect people, and it's because the place that Patrick went to wasn't as famously haunted as the Conjuring House, the Bel Air house. It was just like some little abandoned place that he found. And because of that, there was a very solid dark entity that was residing there. And it wasn't because people are like, oh, there's a scary little girl here, and they manifested the scary little girl. There's actually an entity there throwing shit around.
This is not an okay video. I want to go back to literally, let's go to the Sally house. You want to go to the Conjuring house? I would rather go to the
Well-
Conjuring house than this house.
I feel like it's because this house isn't famously haunted, so there aren't other souls that are like trying to protect people here.
And the
'Cause
man
there's not.
outside with the cat and the lantern does not go in the house. He only stays outside of the house. And it was attracted to that place because of the people that would hang out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would manipulate the already vulnerable people that decided to stay there to give it more energy. So it was just casually like having a nice buffet. But yeah, that's my feelings on hauntings. Because I'm like, human souls just existing isn't a haunting. But when like weird crap happens and it actually like dictates feeling uncomfortable, like if you're in a house that the soul that used to own the house there before doesn't like you for whatever reason, that would be a haunting. Like Em and I looked at a house when I was looking for houses earlier this year, and there was the soul of a man in the house who didn't like the current residents because of their ethnicity. That would be a haunting, if you ask me.
Yeah, but you also went to a house where you saw weird white faces of these black things.
I put one foot in the door and my real estate agent starts walking in the house, and all of a sudden there was about 6 or 7 white faces.
Oh, they're white faces?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That came swirling towards my face, and they all screeched and like whispered, "Get out!" And I was like, ah! I almost pooped your fucking pants, Emily.
Yeah.
And we did not go in that house.
I know, but you would say that's not a haunting?
That is a haunting. That is like a demon level haunting though.
Yeah.
That's not like a normal human soul.
So you say that's not a poltergeist?
No.
Okay.
I do not think that is a poltergeist.
Exactly, the difference.
Yeah. It annoys me that we went to a place that is supposedly haunted, but I don't think it's actually haunted. I think it's just people go there and they psych themselves out and make everything weird. So,
Yeah, it's like a haunted house.
yeah. Em and I are going to take over the world with chaotic good, so thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and following us, because you too can also manifest and be the chaotic good that we create in this world.
So, did you guys have any other spiritual spankings that you wanted to share with us, or do you want to, what's the word,
Pick our brains to talk about other things that you guys like to make us think about?
or banter on the things that we already think we've decided on? Let us know down below, and if you like this type of content, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, check out our one from 2021, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you to our lovely patrons. We are your PsycKicks. Got a lot of hate in my heart today.
I can see.
I have to pee too. I have a lot of pee in my bladder and hate in my heart.
It's 11:18.
Okay, 11:18.
Say what time you start too.
Okay.
Text it.
Goodness gracious, Emily.
What?
Ugh, I hate it.
Keep me safe.
Me from up here?
Yeah. Everything's fine. I'm only slightly scared. We're scared. It's okay. It's gonna be more fun this way. Everything is fine. Okay, before I start this, it is 11:22. I'm doing the SS method from the basement alone, and I am going to say the things up here, and they're gonna ask questions up in the upstairs. And everything's fine. We're good. We are fine. We got a flashlight. We're good. Okay.